there was loneliness. In order not to have my presence erased, in order not to lose my place, I desperately kept responding. At times, even ordinary things from daily life became something I had to tell people. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to eat. But how much of myself did I have to reveal in order to be allowed to exist? Little by little, it became painful to keep desperately showing in that environment. I am here. While living through that time, I came across photos on social media posted by friends from university, unedited photos. What she had seen, what she had felt, was posted just as it was. And she looked so vividly alive. What is this sense of being so as it is? I immediately contacted her and said, I want to go. Through the connection she made for me, I spent 1 week as an intern at a farm that raised chickens and grew vegetables. The first task was to collect the eggs that the chicken laid every morning from the chicken coop. The moment I tried to take the egg, the chicken came toward me all at once, crying out with an enormous volume, "Don't take our babies away." That is what I heard. If someone took my child away, I would be furious too. I'm so sorry. At lunchtime, I received the eggs they had laid together with rice. Thank you, Julie. Then came the work in the field. After harvesting vegetables for shipment, we gathered the leftover leaves and vegetables that were not in good condition and carried them to the chicken coop as feed. Wait, they are coming toward me, even though I took your eggs just a little while ago. There were also times when chickens were turned into meat. I entered the chicken coop and caught them. The chickens that had once come toward me so eagerly were now running around at incredible speed, crying out desperately. After the chickens were caught, they were placed in a crate. Then, one by one, their necks were cut, and their blood was drained. I watched them from the moment they were still alive until the moment they breathed their last. When the chicken was butchered, I could see eggs forming inside its body. The closer they were to the place where they would be laid, the larger they became. These chickens were trying to live into tomorrow, but I had taken the future away. The guilt was so heavy that I felt I could not even face them. But even after receiving the chickens as meat, when I approached the chicken coop, the chickens still came toward me, calling out. No matter what state I was in, no matter what kind of person I was. Even at times when I had received their babies or their companions as food, without attaching to me the label, a cruel person who took something precious away. The chickens still came toward me, needing me. Perhaps that felt comforting to me at the time. And I was within a certain circle. Chickens lay eggs, humans receive them as food. The eggshells become food for the chickens again. Chicken manure returns to the soil. The soil grows vegetables. The vegetable scraps are given to the chicken as food. And the chicken live and lay eggs every day. A baton was being passed again and again. and I was already within the circle. In the online world, if I did not keep expressing myself, I disappeared. So I tried to be within relationship by speaking up, explaining myself, and continuing to respond. And through being responded to, through being acknowledged by someone else, I confirmed that I existed. But in truth, I was already part of the world. It was not about creating connection. It was about realizing that I was already within relationship. By already being within relationships, I could feel that I existed. And that feeling led to a sense that it was okay to exist. Or is it that being in relationships with nature can restore a sense that it is okay to exist? The feeling that unless we keep expressing ourselves, we cannot exist. The feeling within our relationship with nature that we are already here. Perhaps this is one of the cultural experiences shared by those of us living in the present. Thank you so much for listening.
Aly Foy, you are there? No? That's not you.
My name's Aly. There's this Scottish folktale that I love a lot, and it's called The Fox and the Dog. And the reason why I love it, and the reason why I love folktale so much in general, is I think that it puts into images and it's stories, themes, and questions that we wrestle with and we navigate through as humans. The story of the fox and the dog, for me, wrestles with this question, this theme of whether to grow roots down or to flow freely. So it starts with a fox who is wandering through the forest, cold and hungry and tired, and though he probably wouldn't admit it, maybe a little lonely as well. He comes to the edge of a forest, and through sheets of rain, he sees at the end of a large field a house glowing with the warmth of a fire, and he smells the sweet smell of food coming from the bins outside. He's hungry, he's tired, and he starts to slink towards that house, hoping for some nutrition, and then he hears a little voice. "Hey, who are you?" barks this little curly-haired, big-eyed creature sitting in a little miniature version of the house. I'm a fox. Who are you? I'm a dog. What's a fox? I live in the forest on my own. I make my own way in the world. I sleep when I'm tired and I eat when I'm hungry. What's a dog? Oh, well, that sounds pretty fun, but my life as a dog is pretty great. I live in this lovely house. I go on adventures with my master. They bring me back home and we curl up by the fire and they feed me 2 delicious meals at a day, or each day. Actually, do you know, if you want to come live with us, I can probably ask if you can stay. There's plenty of room. And before the fox can answer, he notices something. What's that chain leading somewhere? Where is it leading, and what's that thing around your neck? Oh, this it's my collar, and I think it leads to the house, but I don't know why they put it on me. I mean, it's not like I would run away. I mean, where else would I get my food? Thanks, a fox. Thank you for your kind offer, but I'll keep my freedom. And the fox grabs some food from the bins and goes back into the cold, dark, lonely forest. In November 2025, I proposed a PhD that was based on my dissertation for an MA in outdoor and experiential learning that I completed at the University of Cumbria in August 2025, less than a year ago. The dissertation asked the question, what did I actually learn this year on this experiential learning degree versus what was I supposed to learn? It turns out that what I learned was very different from the course's key learning outcomes. What I learned actually involved navigating relationships, human and non-human, with trust and communication. It involved questioning binaries and boundaries and wrestling with gender and queerness. It involved experiencing place as a concept and not just a location. It was intensely personal, actually, and intimate. And yet, at the same time, I found as I was reading theory on post-humanism and post-qualitative methodologies, and new materialist and other philosophies, it was also academic, it was philosophical, it was political, it was theoretical, it was tiny, but it was also huge. By allowing what emerged in my life to emerge on the page, I realized I could learn what I had learned, and I could make an impact in the shifting of my own personal worldview, and therefore the way that I do and make relationships, human and non-human, but also culturally, in contributing to new ways of understanding what learning is and how we do it, and what boxes and binaries we assign to it that can be helpful or unhelpful to certain populations. I am of a population who often slips through the cracks of systems, education, healthcare, immigration. And though I am a qualified and practicing psychotherapist, outdoor ed facilitator, and foreigner, I have firsthand knowledge of how being a 30-something queer, single, female of mixed race, seasonal freelance worker, and student living in a country that I am not a citizen of, it can result in learning that manifests in behavior that pushes me further and further to the edges of society, that pushes me more often and more often further and further to the brink of tears. So here is an excerpt from my PhD proposal. Why am I crying all the time is the crux question of this project, because the frequent occurrence of emotions moving through my body in the form of tears points me to inquire into the catalysts of these emotions, which is so often a myriad of micro and macro events spanning spatial and time boundaries that are at once intensely personal and on a much larger scale than my singular human self. The question, why am I crying all the time, challenges me to not stop at allowing the emotions to be felt and released, but to inquire into the becoming of the emotions, which is a form of learning that spans therapeutic process and research by living with theory and philosophy. Asking, why am I crying, is valuable time spent for my self-development journey and also for creative relational inquiry in academia, contributing to new ways of understanding learning. I'm not sure how I feel about some of that wording now, 8 months later, but I am still crying all the time. And I am still wrestling with why. Something I have learned, though, is that when you inevitably get lost or you hit the same obstacles over and over, if you want to learn something from that experience, you need to make a new choice. So right now, I am trying to make a new choice. As you may imagine from what I've disclosed already, I've never been very drawn to sitting still by the warm fire or accepting my food at the time I'm supposed to eat it, or not questioning where the collar and the chain lead. I've made mostly fox choices in my life. I've paid the price of loneliness for the reward of non-commitment and the adventure of not knowing where the next meal is going to come from. But that year on that master's changed me so fully in such a way that I decided to ask, in the form of a PhD proposal, if I could stay. In this little tourist town called Ambleside in the Lake District where I live, where I can walk into the climber shop on the corner and know every single member of staff and ask them what I need specifically for a specific rock climb that's just the valley over. I can't go for a run in the fells without seeing someone from Run Club and asking, how are the kids? And I can't sit in my library windowsill without someone waving to me. And yet, with all of this connection, I'm still crying all the time. I'm still continually flailing through relationships, hurting people and hurting myself. And I want to know why. So I'm rooting down I'm accepting a shiny new collar from the dog, and I'm buying myself 3 years to try and build a house in this field through sheets of rain that will hopefully someday glow with warmth, that will hopefully someday feel like a home. This project is a creative relational autoethnography of learning whilst performing self-development as inquiry, enacting its methodology whilst writing about it or with it. I'm only 4 months in and I am still unsure what it's going to look like, but if I knew, it wouldn't really be research, would it? Some days I'm drowning without a schedule or lectures and grasping for a lifeline, and some days I feel trapped in this university maze of paperwork and tick boxes. And in both scenarios, you can probably find me crying in my library windowsill. But the tears are watering the theory that I'm reading, philosophies and methodologies growing roots down into me. They're wrapping themselves around my bones, and I'm hoping that they'll eventually emerge and bloom into something. It's commitment without feeling stuck, and it's freedom with direction. So I'm curious, my question to you to end is, does your research or your writing feel like the foxes or the dogs or both? And maybe, do you also feel lonely in the forest? And is that why you're here at this conference, gathering around the glowing hearth, asking to belong to something? Or is that just me?
Thank you so much. Next presenter is online.
Welcome. My name is Aqeel. Today, I would like to present in the way of Sado, Japanese tea ceremony. In Sado, when you enter a tea room, first thing you see is a hanging scroll, a few words written by a Zen monk. You would have a quiet moment facing these words. No one explains them. You simply sit with them. You carry them with you while sharing a bowl of tea. So I shall leave you with these words for a moment. This remains here from beginning to end. You don't need to try to understand it yet. Just let it accompany throughout my story. Where attention goes, connection grows. So let me ask you, what are you connected to in your daily life? Perhaps your phone, YouTube, Instagram, perhaps today, this conference, perhaps the person beside you. I used to be connected to something else, to other people's opinions, to yesterday's mistakes, to tomorrow's worries. Even after I returned home, the conversation never ended. Am I enough? What do they think of me? I was always connected, yet this connection somehow felt alone, never at peace. Then I entered a tea room. The city remained outside. Silence settled inside. Rice straw beneath me as a carpet. Earth beneath the straw. Clay became a bowl. Leaves became tea. Fire became warmth. Water became steam. Steam became sky. I held the bowl. The bowl held me. Bitter, sweet, warm. A quiet hot and warm hands. As I looked around, I no longer saw objects. Earth, water, leaves, fire, hands, breath. Nothing stood alone. For a moment, neither did I. I forgot who was important, who was successful, who was Japanese, who was Muslim, There was only one bowl, one room, one breath, one spring. But when I stepped outside, the world returned to names, 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 names. You look foreign, but you speak like Japanese. My father is from Pakistan, and his name is Abdul Wahab. Sometimes people hear his name before they hear his kind and lovely heart. Muslim. He is a Muslim. He's a Pakistani. He's a foreigner. Names help us recognize. Names also help us separate. Walls that hide that person standing behind them. Walls that make us forget that spring falls on all. For years, I wondered why that small tea room felt so different. That small tea room felt larger than the world outside. Years later, Arabic gave me another way of seeing. One word, Salah, usually translated as prayer, the 5 daily prayers that Muslims do, Salah. By its roots, also speaks of connection. At first, I thought I had discovered a new meaning. So prayer is connection. But then something unexpected happened. I realized I had rediscovered an old feeling because once I understood connection, I began to recognize it everywhere, like someone standing quietly before the sea, like watching the moon without taking a photograph, like a mother holding her newborn before finding the right words, like a hiker climbing a mountain and breathing before speaking. Sada. Different traditions, different languages, the same human movement, turning our attention toward something greater than ourselves. Arabic did not create that feeling. It simply gave me a word to recognize what I had already experienced in that tea room. Perhaps this is why I keep returning to autoethnography, and I love listening to people's autoethnography. Not because it gives us new experiences, but because it lets us recognize our own experiences through someone else's words. Sometimes someone else's story becomes like that Arabic word for me. It does not replace my story, it illuminates it. And sometimes silence does the same. The tea room removed the words that kept me apart. Arabic offered a word that brought the world back together. 2 different paths, one through silence, one through language or story, both leading to the same place. So today, I leave you with these words on the scroll. Spring falls on all, branches grow short and long. Recording in progress. I used to think spring was simply a season. Arabic invited me to see it as the world's coming alive. Again, the branches never become the same. Some remain short, some remain long, different, like us. And perhaps that is exactly why spring is beautiful. Our differences do not prevent connection. They give it something to embrace. So perhaps our future does not depend on becoming identical. Perhaps it depends on remembering what spring has never forgotten. It falls on all, no matter our names, no matter our languages, no matter our stories, like branches we grow in different directions. Yet together we receive the same spring.
The name and just, yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Neil. In the interest of time, I wanted to respond to everybody. So I really loved your pieces and thank you for bringing us on that journey. But mostly to you to say, crying, it's interesting how we attach meaning to that or what meaning we attach to that. And I also cry all the time. And for me, it's a healing process. So the crying is the healing. And I just wanted to say that, you know, cut yourself some slack maybe to go. Is the question, why are you crying all the time? Or is the question, is there a healing process in that? Not to try and write your question for you, but I sat here, I couldn't stop crying while you were reading. So it's just a thing, and it's my own healing that came out. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a bit that I didn't read from my proposal about why crying is a signifier of moving emotion and shifts and change within me. So I guess the question's a little bit like a little tongue in cheek in the way where it's really about like what change is happening and what am I learning, and the tears are kind of what make me notice that, yeah, when that's moving. Yeah.
Thanks. I never cry. I wish I could, actually, but that's another presentation. Yeah.
So I have a question for Aqeel. First of all, Oskari Samadas, that was a really good presentation. Aqeel, so you are a mixed race Japanese person. I think your mother is Japanese, your father is Pakistani. Yes. And you spoke about, I guess, being in a cross-cultural situation where people will see your father's name and immediately think of him as foreign as a result. I'm curious how they perceive you specifically, because yes, you have I guess an Arabic name, Aqeel, Arabia Godesho, yes.
So is it? Yes.
But you do seem very, 日本人っぽいでしょ. You seem very, you appear very Japanese, perhaps more Japanese than South Asian. だから therefore, how do people react to you? Especially because I think Japan is very embracing of religion. You know, people shift between Shintoism, Buddhism, and Christianity very comfortably. And Christianity and Islam are basically siblings. They're from the same root. So from a religious point of view, are people in Japan more embracing versus perhaps from a cultural point of view, or as you said it, from a naming point of view? Thank you.
May I answer now, or should I wait for questions?
Absolutely, just response. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for asking, and I'm fascinated that I can hear Japanese from the audience here, and I just wish if I could see your face and yourself there in the room. Yes, so yes, I do. My name is Aqeel Qureshi, and yeah, it's an Arabic name, as you know, and it is not a common name in Japan. So yeah, people see me foreign through name, and also my looks are not totally Japanese. So when I go to a different location in Japan, it's, sometimes they say I look Japanese, but usually I don't look Japanese. And even when I go to Pakistan, actually last week I was in Pakistan, and they say that you look Chinese. So, I never belong to anywhere. And yeah, and about the religion part, yes, it is very embracing. Yet the word Islam itself, with a lot of prejudice and a lot of through media about terrorism and these things, although it's a very embracing country, the name itself, though Islam, the word itself is misguiding people to have a different negative impression. So towards Islam now it's getting quite harsh. But for me, born and raised in Japan, I myself, I'm practicing Shinto, I'm practicing Buddhism, I'm practicing Islam, I'm practicing everything at the same time. So I think the environment is affecting me, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. And to me, and this is my interpretation, but it's fascinating to see what happens when you speak Japanese Like I commented in the last session as well. It just immediately, like, anybody else? Perfect.
Thank you very much. My name is Naoyuki Yamada from Kansai University, Japan. I would like to ask Hayashi-san. In Japan, we have sometimes called shokuiku or food education in public education. And I was wondering whether you see any connection between your experience and what you learned at school during compulsory education. I mean, elementary school education or middle school education, the junior high school education. I think it's related to last question. That's related to more religious things, Shinto or something. So.
In the school, actually, I have not learned about anything. Wait, like in Japanese, in Japan, like we have the word itadakimasu. That means like we pray. Like how to say, like yes, yeah. So like not learning that word, but like in the culture, like we are doing like very like 当たり前 like as a common, like as a 当たり前 yeah 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 but like the sense that it is okay to exist or to connect with chicken, like not not learning at school, but just I feel that big gap between online world, like and the connection in online world and the connection in the other, like not human, but also like other beyond human or other humans connection. So I because of that gap gap.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? And you don't have to answer, but did the experiences with the chicken change your relation to eating an omelet or to chickens? Did it change your relation to chickens?
Yes. Yes. Like before experiencing the internship at firm, I thought that chicken is chicken, just chicken. Yeah. And that like they laid the egg. Yeah, thankful for chicken. Yeah, just like that. But after experienced to have the connection with chickens, then I feel that chicken is one of the element of the in the world, the certain circle. Yeah, and we people are one of the element in the certain circle. So yeah, that is my big change between chickens and people, me, and also not only chicken, but also like around the chicken and around me. Yeah, that is big change.
Thank you. I kind of relate to that. Let's not get into it.
Thank you, everyone, for really excellent presentations, and I enjoyed them all so much. I think I have just, I'm not sure if it is a question, maybe it is, or like a comment, reflection on Ashley's presentation. I have two grown up now daughters who also are very fond of horses when they were young. So I think being with horses was quite an important part of our relationship, and how you relate to animals and how that opens up for ways of relating to other human beings as well. And I was just thinking when I heard Alice's presentation on the fox and the dog, and how, at least to me, I think having a relationship to animals, horse or a dog or whatever, to me, it kind of fulfills both my need to commit and also for freedom, for liberating myself from something else. You know, if you're with a dog, you can be out in the woods, you can see the dog running, you can kind of experience nature through the eyes and sounds of the dog or the horse, like you explained, the rhythm and everything. But there's also something with the commitment, which I think to me is important with animals, to have a relationship with an animal, that it kind of commits me. And it's a bit like Jamie talked about this morning, that there's not necessarily like a binary between connecting and disconnecting. It's through connecting with something, you can also kind of experience freedom. But freedom without connecting is kind of, I don't know, scary and shallow in a way, maybe, even if it's only freedom. So, yeah. And yeah, I was wondering if you have any thoughts about that, because how horses, they really commit you. I mean, they also provide you with the freedom when you are riding out there and you are part of the rhythm, part of nature, but there's a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment. So yeah, it's not really a question, but I was just wondering if you have any reflections on it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really interested in the concept of polarities, and like you said, this idea that it's both commitment and freedom. And I also think that in other aspects, it's allowed me to inhabit sort of all aspects of myself. So the feminine and the masculine and the physical strength that's required, and this idea of kind of wanting to be committed and connected, but also wanting to, like the solitude, wanting to be a mother and to share that with my children, but also like needing the space and the peace. And in my research, I came across this idea that there's something around rurality and being away from the authoritarian gaze, kind of being outside of I guess, you know, in the countryside, there's a perception perhaps that you're less looked upon and that there's more scope to kind of, yeah, inhabit yourself more freely. But yeah, I think that life is full of tension between, you know, these different polarities. And I think the more that we can find a way to inhabit ourselves in all of our fullness and all of these polarities, the more integrated we will be ultimately. Sorry, I think I've waffled a bit there, but
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I did really enjoy your presentation as well. I've been a horse owner in the past, and so just to add to that, can you speak about when you're inhabiting the natural world on horseback, does that enable you to be more a part of the natural world and less human? I ask because in my adventures on horseback, I've seen more hares because the hares didn't see me as a human. So.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. And I definitely feel more integrated with the natural world when I'm out riding. And I think there's something about the fully embodied sense that I have when I'm riding, and being able to actually fully exist in the present, which I, you know, generally find quite difficult as a person, to be kind of fully embodied. And yeah, it feels, I think I said in the video, it does feel like a secret world at times. And you see parts of nature that I think, you know, like you said, you know, you saw more hares. I see a lot of deer, which freak my horse out. But it's, yeah, there's something that, I don't know, maybe transcends kind of the everyday human experience. Yeah.
Many hands. I'm not sure we have time for your question, but I said No, but yeah, were you first?
I don't know.
No, I don't. Let's
Thank you. Sort of a question for Aqeel. Being from two different cultures, etc. I'm just wondering, I have a colleague who works a lot on this concept of global homelessness, which I think is something that many people feel, perhaps more than 50 years ago, people did. General sense that, you know, where do you really belong? It sounds to me as though you've made yourself more at home in Japan, but maybe I'm misreading it. But if that's the case, I'm wondering when you visit Pakistan, do you feel as though you have a native right to being there? Do you feel like a visitor? When people view you as maybe being a bit different in Japan, do you feel like an outsider being entertained and accepted on a provisional terms? I guess what I'm trying to talk about is that there's this general feeling that there are more and more people living in sort of liminal spaces now. You know, I mean, you're not really any one place that you absolutely overlap with. You know, there are bits of you that don't fit in here or there. And I think that part of it is that binarity concept, that very problematic binarity concept, as we all know, that, you know, you're either in or you're out, right? You're either Japanese or you're not, blah, 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 etc. And I'm just wondering whether you could say something about how you feel moving between the two, I guess, options that you have, and whether you feel strongly a sense of belonging or a sense of being a guest.
Thank you for this question. And yes, about the global. Oh, yes. Can I answer or should I?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, about the global homelessness. Yes, very interesting question. And where do I belong is a question which I was always struggling inside, you know, this getting trapped in the box of binarity. And actually, like last week I was in Pakistan, yes. And also I'm still living in Japan, yes. But I don't feel this problem anymore since I started to connect to the wholeness, to the nature itself. And that was my autoethnography presentation that I wanted to show that when you're connected to this wholeness or this, you know, bigger nature, something more than human, you stop being lonely, you stop being homeless. Like this whole universe, this cosmos becomes your home. And like the binarity just dissolves, it disappears. So like when I was in Pakistan, I was, of course, a guest. And in Japan, I'm also a guest. At the same time, I'm also in this home of Earth, of universe. So if that makes sense, but like I think throughout this presentation, like I also felt through the welcome talk, Jamie talked about connection. The opposite word is he said it's separateness, separates. But I believe through this session, we can say that the opposite word may be loneliness, because when you're connected to this wholeness, to this nature, like Kiyoka mentioned, it's not the chicken there, it's the whole nature, the cycle there. You never feel lonely and never feel, I don't have a question, where do you belong in a one place? I'm belonging to like as someone, like as anyone is belonging to this world, to this earth, to this cosmos, to this universe. Yeah, if that makes sense. Thank you.
And am I right in assuming it's lunch, 1 hour? So enjoy and thank you all.